Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by asking you a question. Have you ever felt that gnawing emptiness when you're all by yourself? That creeping sense of loneliness that seems to eat away at your peace? Most people think that happiness is found in another person, in a relationship, or in the company of friends. We have been conditioned to believe that being alone is a sign of failure or a void that needs to be filled. Now, before you tune out, I want to challenge you to stay with me till the end of this message, because what I am about to share with you will shift your entire perspective on solitude and happiness. You see, the secret to living a fulfilled life doesn't lie in how many people surround you, but in how content you are in your own company. By the end of this talk, you will no longer fear being alone. Instead, you will embrace it as the most empowering state of existence. True happiness is internal, and this truth is one of the most profound realizations a person can make in life. We live in a world that constantly tells us happiness is something to be chased, something to be acquired through external means. We're surrounded by messages that equate happiness with material success, relationships, or social validation. But while these things may bring temporary pleasure or satisfaction, they are not the source of lasting happiness. The true foundation of happiness is something that comes from within. To understand this concept, we must first recognize that external factors such as wealth, status, or companionship are fleeting. They are subject to change, decay, or loss at any moment. A relationship might end, a job might be lost, material possessions can break or be taken away. If our happiness is dependent on these things, then it too becomes fragile and temporary. When the external source of happiness disappears, we find ourselves plunged into sadness, anxiety, or despair. This is why so many people experience emotional roller coasters throughout their lives. They attach their joy and sense of fulfillment to things they cannot control. Internal happiness, on the other hand, is not subject to these fluctuations. It is rooted in something far deeper and more stable than the changing tides of external circumstances. When we cultivate happiness from within, it is based on our self-awareness, self-acceptance, and a sense of purpose that transcends the material world. It is about realizing that we are enough as we are, that our worth, value, and joy do not depend on anything outside of ourselves. One of the primary reasons why many people struggle to find this internal happiness is because society places such a high value on external achievements. We are conditioned from a young age to believe that success is measured by how much we own, how high we climb in our careers, or how many people admire us. In this constant chase for more, we often lose sight of ourselves. We get so caught up in trying to meet societal expectations that we forget to ask ourselves what truly brings us joy, what genuinely fulfills us. The result is that even when we achieve those external markers of success, we often find that something still feels missing. Learning to cultivate internal happiness requires a shift in focus. It involves moving away from the idea that happiness is something to be found in the outside world, and instead recognizing that it is something we already possess within us. This shift can be challenging, especially in a culture that bombards us with images of what we should aspire to, what we should buy, and who we should be. But it is a necessary shift if we are to find true peace and contentment. One of the key aspects of internal happiness is self-awareness. To be happy within ourselves, we must first know ourselves. This means taking the time to reflect on who we are, what we value, and what brings us a sense of fulfillment. It requires us to tune out the noise of external influences and listen to our own inner voice. Many people fear being alone or spending time in solitude because it forces them to confront themselves. But this confrontation is essential for personal growth. When we take the time to get to know ourselves on a deeper level, we begin to understand what truly matters to us beyond the superficial desires that are often imposed on us by society. Another crucial component of internal happiness is self-acceptance. Once we know ourselves, we must learn to accept ourselves as we are. This doesn't mean that we shouldn't strive to improve or grow, but it does mean recognizing that we are worthy of happiness and fulfillment, regardless of our imperfections. So many people struggle with happiness because they believe they are not good enough as they are. They think they need to be thinner, wealthier, more successful, or more loved in order to be happy. But this mindset creates a never-ending cycle of dissatisfaction. No matter how much we achieve or how hard we try to improve ourselves, if we cannot accept who we are at our core, we will always feel like we are falling short. Self-acceptance is about embracing both our strengths and our weaknesses, our successes and our failures, our beauty and our flaws. It is about realizing that we are complete as we are and that we do not need anything external to validate our worth. When we accept ourselves fully, we free ourselves from the constant need for approval or validation from others. This creates a sense of inner peace that is unshakable by external circumstances. Internal happiness is deeply connected to a sense of purpose. When we live our lives in alignment with our values and passions, we experience a deep sense of fulfillment that cannot be achieved through external means alone. Purpose gives us direction and meaning. It gives us a reason to get up in the morning, regardless of what is happening in the outside world. A sense of purpose is not something that can be given to us by others. It is something that we discover within ourselves. And when we are connected to that purpose, we find that our happiness is no longer dependent on the approval or recognition of others. We are content simply because we are living in alignment with who we truly are. True happiness is an internal state that is cultivated through self-awareness, self-acceptance, and living in alignment with our purpose. While external factors can bring temporary pleasure, they are not the foundation of lasting happiness. By turning our focus inward and learning to be content with who we are, we create a sense of joy and fulfillment that cannot be shaken by the ups and downs of life. The foundation of self-worth is one of the most crucial aspects of learning to be happy alone. In a world where self-worth is often tied to external validation, appearances or accomplishments, understanding the intrinsic value of oneself is a revolutionary concept. Many people believe that their worth is determined by the opinions of others, by their relationships, or by their social status. However, self-worth that is dependent on external factors is fragile and can easily crumble when those factors change. True self-worth comes from within. It is the recognition of one's inherent value, regardless of circumstances, and it is this internal foundation that can sustain lasting happiness and fulfillment. To build a strong sense of self-worth, we must first understand where self-worth originates. Self-worth is not something that others can give or take away. It is not based on how much we achieve, how successful we are, or how others perceive us. Instead, it is rooted in the understanding that we have value simply because we exist. Each person is unique with their own strengths, weaknesses, talents, and experiences, and these things contribute to our inherent worth as human beings. In a society that places so much emphasis on external success, it can be challenging to hold on to this truth. From a young age, we are taught to seek validation from others. We are rewarded for good behavior, good grades, or other achievements, and these external rewards can lead us to believe that our value is dependent on what we do rather than who we are. As a result, many people grow up with a deep-seated belief that they must constantly prove their worth to others. They strive for success, recognition, and approval, all in an attempt to feel valued. This external search for validation can be exhausting and unfulfilling because no matter how much we achieve, there will always be someone who does not approve or something else that we feel we must accomplish to be good enough. The constant pursuit of external validation leaves us on an emotional roller coaster, feeling worthy when others approve of us and worthless when they don't. This is why building self-worth from within is so essential. When we begin to recognize that our worth is not tied to external validation, we free ourselves from the need to constantly seek approval. We no longer feel the pressure to live up to others' expectations or to meet societal standards of success. Instead, we become more focused on living in alignment with our own values and beliefs, which brings a deeper sense of fulfillment. This shift allows us to base our sense of worth on something that is far more stable and enduring our inner self. Self-worth is intimately connected to self-awareness. To truly value ourselves, we must first know ourselves. This means taking time to reflect on who we are, what we believe, and what we stand for. It requires us to tune out the noise of society and to listen to our own inner voice. This process of self-reflection is not always easy, especially in a world that encourages us to conform and seek validation from others. However, it is essential for building a strong sense of self-worth. Through self-awareness, we can begin to recognize our strengths and our weaknesses. We come to understand our unique gifts and talents, as well as the areas where we may need to grow. This understanding helps us to see ourselves as whole and valuable, even with our imperfections. we begin to recognize that we are worthy, not because we are perfect, but because we are human. We are worthy of love, respect, and happiness simply because we exist. Self-worth also requires self-acceptance. Once we are aware of who we are, we must learn to accept ourselves fully, including our flaws and imperfections. Many people struggle with self-acceptance because they believe that they must be perfect to be worthy. They think that they need to achieve more, look a certain way, or be a certain kind of person to have value. However, this belief creates a never-ending cycle of dissatisfaction because perfection is an impossible standard to meet. True self-worth is not about being perfect, it is about accepting ourselves as we are, flaws and all. When we learn to accept ourselves, we no longer feel the need to constantly strive for approval or to prove our worth to others. We realize that we are already enough just as we are. This self-acceptance brings a sense of peace and contentment that cannot be found through external validation. Building self-worth from within also empowers us to set healthy boundaries in our relationships. When we know our value, we are less likely to tolerate mistreatment or disrespect from others. We understand that we deserve to be treated with kindness and respect, and we are willing to walk away from relationships that do not honor our worth. This ability to set boundaries is an important part of self-care, and it helps to protect our emotional well-being. When we have a strong sense of self-worth, we are less likely to be swayed by the opinions of others. We no longer feel the need to conform to societal expectations or to seek approval from people who do not truly know or understand us. Instead, we become more confident in who we are and in the choices we make. This confidence allows us to live authentically without fear of judgment or rejection. A solid foundation of self-worth helps us to approach challenges and setbacks with resilience. When our sense of worth is tied to external success, failure can feel devastating. We may internalize our failures and believe that they are a reflection of our value as individuals. However, when we know that our worth is intrinsic, we are able to see failure as a learning experience rather than a reflection of our value. We understand that failure is a natural part of growth, and it does not diminish our worth. Self-worth is the foundation of a happy and fulfilling life. When we base our sense of worth on external factors, we are constantly at the mercy of others' opinions and circumstances beyond our control. But when we cultivate self-worth from within, we build a solid foundation that allows us to navigate life's ups and downs with confidence and resilience. Self-worth is not something that others can give or take away. It's something that we must recognize and nurture within ourselves. One of the most important aspects of being happy alone is embracing solitude as a powerful tool for personal growth. In today's society, there is often a stigma attached to being alone, as if it were synonymous with loneliness or isolation. People are taught to constantly seek companionship, validation, or entertainment from the outside world to feel complete. However, solitude is not something to be feared or avoided. In fact, it is a gift, a time when we can focus inward, reflect, and truly grow as individuals. Solitude provides a space for self-discovery, which is a crucial component of personal growth. When we are constantly surrounded by others or distracted by external stimuli, we rarely have the opportunity to truly connect with ourselves. We may conform to the expectations of others, adopt societal norms, or live according to what others think we should be, rather than who we genuinely are. However, in moments of solitude, we are free from these influences and can begin to explore our true identity. This process of self-discovery begins with self-reflection. Solitude allows us to ask ourselves important questions. Who am I? What do I believe in? What brings me joy? What are my goals and dreams? Without the distractions of daily life or the input of others, we are able to listen to our own thoughts and desires. This can be a transformative experience, as it often reveals aspects of ourselves that we may have neglected or forgotten. It helps us gain clarity about what truly matters to us and what direction we want our lives to take. Another aspect of personal growth that solitude fosters is emotional resilience. In solitude, we are often forced to confront our emotions, both positive and negative. This can be uncomfortable, especially if we have been using external distractions such as social media, television, or constant interaction with others to avoid dealing with difficult feelings. However, this confrontation is necessary for growth. When we allow ourselves to sit with our emotions in solitude, we develop a greater understanding of ourselves and our emotional landscape. By confronting our emotions in solitude, we also learn how to manage them in healthy ways. Instead of relying on others to soothe us or distract us from uncomfortable feelings, we develop the ability to process these emotions on our own. This leads to greater emotional independence as we become less reliant on external validation or comfort to feel okay. This independence is empowering as it allows us to navigate life's challenges with greater confidence and resilience. In addition to emotional growth, solitude provides an opportunity for mental clarity. In our fast-paced world, where we are constantly bombarded with information and stimulation, it can be difficult to think clearly or make decisions that are aligned with our true values and goals. Solitude offers a chance to step back from the noise and chaos of daily life and to gain perspective. In the quiet of solitude, we can think more deeply, analyze situations more clearly, and make decisions with greater wisdom and insight. Solitude also fosters creativity. Many of the world's greatest artists, writers, and thinkers have spoken about the importance of solitude in their creative process. When we are alone, we are free from the distractions and opinions of others, allowing our minds to wander and explore new ideas. This creative freedom is essential for personal growth as it enables us to think outside the box, to innovate, and to develop new ways of approaching challenges in our lives. Whether we are engaging in creative pursuits, problem solving, or simply daydreaming, solitude provides the mental space we need to tap into our creative potential. Another important benefit of solitude is the development of self-reliance. In solitude, we learn to depend on ourselves for our happiness, fulfillment, and sense of purpose. This is a key aspect of personal growth, as it empowers us to take control of our own lives. When we are constantly surrounded by others, it is easy to become dependent on them for emotional support, validation, or even direction in life. However, in solitude, we are forced to rely on our own inner resources. This fosters a sense of self-sufficiency as we realize that we are capable of providing for our own needs. Self-reliance also leads to greater self-confidence. When we spend time alone, we come to know ourselves better and develop a stronger sense of identity. We become more comfortable with who we are, which in turn makes us more confident in our abilities and our decisions. This self-assuredness is a critical component of personal growth, as it allows us to pursue our goals and dreams with greater conviction and determination. We also learn the value of inner peace. In the quiet moments of being alone, we have the opportunity to disconnect from the constant pressures and demands of the outside world. This allows us to cultivate a sense of calm and tranquility within ourselves. Inner peace is an essential part of personal growth, as it helps us to maintain a sense of balance and well-being, even in the face of life's challenges. When we are at peace with ourselves, we are better able to handle stress, make thoughtful decisions, and approach life with a sense of equanimity. Solitude provides a space for spiritual growth. Whether or not one subscribes to a particular religious or spiritual belief, time spent in solitude often leads to a deeper connection with something greater than oneself. In moments of stillness, we may become more aware of the interconnectedness of all things, the beauty of the natural world, or the mystery of life itself. This sense of connection can foster a greater sense of purpose and meaning in our lives, which is a crucial aspect of personal growth. Solitude is not something to be feared or avoided, but rather embraced as a powerful tool for personal growth. It is in moments of solitude that we come to know ourselves more deeply, develop emotional and mental resilience, tap into our creativity, and cultivate inner peace and self-reliance. Solitude allows us the space to grow, not in isolation, but in preparation for a more fulfilling and purposeful life. By embracing solitude, we unlock the door to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us, setting the foundation for true personal growth. Learning to love and enjoy your own company is an essential aspect of finding happiness alone. In a society that often glorifies social interaction, romantic relationships, and group activities, the idea of spending time alone can seem daunting or even undesirable. Many people equate being alone with being lonely, assuming that solitude is something to be avoided at all costs. However, the ability to find joy and contentment in your own company is not only empowering, but it is also a key to long-lasting happiness and self-sufficiency. The first step in learning to enjoy your own company is shifting your mindset about solitude. It's important to understand that being alone doesn't have to mean being lonely. Loneliness is a feeling of isolation or lack, often rooted in a desire for connection that isn't being met. In contrast, solitude can be a choice of time to recharge, reflect, and reconnect with yourself. When you approach time alone from this perspective, it becomes an opportunity rather than a burden. Instead of seeing solitude as something negative, it becomes a chance to focus on your own needs, interests, and personal growth. One of the key reasons many people struggle to enjoy their own company is because they haven't learned how to cultivate an inner life. When we are constantly surrounded by others or distracted by external activities, we often lose touch with ourselves. We may fill our time with social obligations, entertainment, or work, all in an effort to avoid the discomfort of being alone. However, when we take the time to develop our inner life through hobbies, creative pursuits, or self-reflection, we begin to discover the richness and depth that solitude offers. Engaging in activities that you enjoy on your own can be incredibly rewarding, whether it's reading a book, taking a walk in nature, painting, writing, or simply sitting in quiet reflection. These moments of solitude allow you to connect with your inner self. These activities don't require the presence of others to be meaningful or fulfilling. In fact, they often become more enjoyable when done alone, as there is no need to cater to anyone else's preferences or expectations. By engaging in solo activities, you begin to realize that you are capable of providing your own happiness and that you don't need external validation to feel fulfilled. Learning to enjoy your own company also involves becoming comfortable with silence and stillness. In today's fast-paced world, we are often bombarded with noise, both literal and figurative. From constant notifications on our phones to the chatter of social media and the demands of work and family life, it can feel uncomfortable to sit in silence. Many people fear stillness because it forces them to confront their own thoughts and emotions, which they may have been avoiding. However, by embracing silence, we create the space for deeper self-reflection and inner peace. Silence and stillness allow us to tune out the external noise and focus on our inner world. In these moments, we can begin to process our thoughts, gain clarity on our feelings, and connect with our true desires and aspirations. This process of self-reflection is an essential part of learning to enjoy your own company. It helps us to understand ourselves better and to develop a deeper sense of self-awareness. Through self-awareness, we become more attuned to our own needs and desires, which enables us to take better care of ourselves emotionally and mentally. Another important aspect of enjoying your own company is learning to be kind and compassionate toward yourself. Many people are their own harshest critics, constantly judging themselves or feeling inadequate. This inner criticism can make solitude uncomfortable, as it amplifies feelings of self-doubt or insecurity. However, learning to practice self-compassion is crucial for developing a healthy relationship with yourself. When you treat yourself with the same kindness, understanding, and patience that you would offer a close friend, you begin to create a positive internal dialogue. This shift in mindset makes spending time alone not only more enjoyable, but also a source of emotional nourishment. Practicing self-compassion means acknowledging that you are human with flaws and imperfections, and that this is perfectly okay. Instead of focusing on your shortcomings or mistakes, you can begin to celebrate your strengths and achievements. By cultivating a positive inner voice, you create an environment where you feel safe and supported, even when you are alone. This internal support system is crucial for maintaining happiness, as it allows you to rely on yourself for validation and encouragement rather than seeking it externally. One of the most powerful outcomes of learning to love your own company is the development of emotional independence. Emotional independence means that you are not reliant on others to meet your emotional needs. While relationships and social connections are important, they should complement your life, not define it. When you are emotionally independent, you are able to enjoy the company of others without feeling dependent on them for your happiness. You no longer need to seek constant validation, approval, or companionship to feel complete. Instead, you recognize that you are whole and capable of creating your own joy. This emotional independence also strengthens your relationships with others. When you enjoy your own company, you are less likely to enter into or stay in unhealthy relationships out of fear of being alone. You become more selective about who you spend your time with, choosing relationships that are based on mutual respect, love, and support, rather than neediness or insecurity. As a result, your relationships become more fulfilling because they are rooted in genuine connection rather than dependency. Learning to enjoy your own company also fosters a deeper sense of freedom. When you are comfortable being alone, you are free to pursue your passions, interests, and goals without worrying about whether others will approve or join you. You are able to make decisions based on what is best for you, rather than trying to fit into societal expectations or the desires of others. This sense of autonomy is incredibly liberating and allows you to live a life that is authentic to who you are. Loving and enjoying your own company is one of the most empowering skills you can develop. It allows you to create your own happiness, maintain emotional independence, and live a life that is true to yourself. By embracing solitude and cultivating a rich inner life, you unlock the potential for deeper fulfillment, peace, and joy, qualities that can sustain you whether you're alone or in the company of others. Building confidence through self-awareness is one of the most transformative aspects of learning to be happy alone. Self-awareness is the foundation of personal growth and empowerment, as it enables you to understand yourself on a deeper level, your strengths, weaknesses, desires, and fears. When you are truly self-aware, you are better equipped to navigate the complexities of life, make informed decisions, and take control of your own happiness. Confidence, then, is the natural outcome of this process. By becoming more attuned to who you are, you develop a stronger sense of self, which boosts your self-assurance in various areas of life. The process of building confidence through self-awareness begins with introspection. Spending time alone gives you the space and freedom to reflect on your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors without the influence or opinions of others. It allows you to step back from the external pressures of society, family, or peers and look inward. This introspection is essential for gaining clarity about who you are and what you truly want from life. It's in these moments of solitude that you can begin to assess your values, beliefs, and motivations. One of the most important aspects of self-awareness is understanding your strengths and recognizing your abilities. Many people spend their lives doubting their capabilities or comparing themselves to others, which can erode their confidence. However, when you take the time to reflect on your own accomplishments and skills, you begin to realize how capable you truly are. Self-awareness allows you to identify the unique qualities and talents that set you apart, and this recognition builds confidence. Instead of focusing on your perceived shortcomings, you can start to celebrate your strengths and leverage them in your personal and professional life. Self-awareness also helps you recognize areas for growth, but in a constructive way. Rather than viewing your weaknesses as something to be ashamed of, self-awareness encourages you to see them as opportunities for improvement. This shift in mindset is crucial for building confidence. When you are aware of your limitations, you can take proactive steps to address them. Whether it's developing a new skill, seeking out resources for personal development, or simply working on your mindset, self-awareness gives you the tools to become a more confident, well-rounded individual. Another key element of self-awareness is understanding your emotions. Many people are unaware of how their emotions impact their behavior and decision-making. However, by spending time alone and reflecting on your emotional experiences, you can develop a deeper understanding of your emotional triggers and patterns. This emotional awareness is a critical component of confidence because it enables you to manage your emotions more effectively. When you are in tune with your emotions, you are less likely to be overwhelmed by them, and you can respond to challenges with greater calm and composure. This emotional control boosts your confidence as you learn to trust yourself to handle difficult situations with grace. In addition to understanding your emotions, self-awareness helps you recognize your thought patterns. Many people struggle with negative self-talk, which can significantly undermine their confidence. When you are constantly telling yourself that you are not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough, it's difficult to feel confident in any area of your life. However, self-awareness allows you to identify these negative thought patterns and challenge them. By becoming more mindful of your inner dialogue, you can begin to replace self-doubt with more positive, empowering thoughts. This shift in mindset is essential for building lasting confidence. Self-awareness also enhances your decision-making abilities, which is another key factor in building confidence. When you know yourself well, You are better equipped to make decisions that align with your values and goals. You no longer feel the need to seek approval or validation from others as you trust your own judgment. This autonomy in decision making is incredibly empowering, as it reinforces the belief that you are capable of making choices that are in your best interest. The more confident you become in your decision making abilities, the more empowered you feel in all aspects of your life. Self-awareness fosters authenticity, which is a cornerstone of confidence. When you are self-aware, you no longer feel the need to pretend to be someone you're not in order to fit in or please others. Instead, you embrace your true self with all your strengths and imperfections. This authenticity is incredibly freeing, as it allows you to live in alignment with your true values and desires. When you are authentic, you are not constantly second-guessing yourself or worrying about how others perceive you. This self-assuredness naturally boosts your confidence, as you are no longer tied to the expectations of others. One of the most profound effects of self-awareness on confidence is the development of self-trust. Many people struggle with trusting themselves because they are disconnected from their inner selves. They may constantly seek guidance from others or rely on external validation to make decisions. However, as you become more self-aware, you develop a deeper trust in your own abilities, judgment, and intuition. This self-trust is essential for confidence, as it allows you to move through life with a sense of certainty and self-reliance. When you trust yourself, you are less likely to be swayed by the opinions or judgments of others, and you can pursue your goals with greater conviction. Self-awareness also helps you build resilience, which is a key component of confidence. Life is full of challenges and setbacks, and how you respond to these obstacles is largely determined by your level of self-awareness. When you are aware of your strengths and limitations, you are better equipped to navigate difficult situations. You can approach challenges with a growth mindset, viewing them as opportunities for learning and development rather than as threats to your self-worth. This resilience strengthens your confidence as you learn to bounce back from adversity and trust in your ability to overcome obstacles. Self-awareness fosters a sense of inner peace and contentment, which is the foundation of true confidence. When you are at peace with who you are, you no longer feel the need to constantly seek approval, validation, or recognition from others. You are content with yourself, knowing that you are enough just as you are. This inner peace creates a sense of unshakable confidence, as you are no longer dependent on external factors to feel good about yourself. Instead, your confidence comes from within, rooted in a deep understanding and acceptance of yourself. Building confidence through self-awareness is a transformative process that empowers you to take control of your life, trust in your abilities, and embrace your true self. It is through self-awareness that you develop the clarity, emotional intelligence, and self-assuredness needed to navigate life's challenges with confidence and grace. Reaching fulfillment without external validation is a powerful and transformative journey that allows you to derive true happiness from within. In a world where social media, peer pressure, and societal expectations constantly bombard us with the idea that our worth is tied to the opinions of others, learning to detach from external validation is crucial. Fulfillment comes from living a life that aligns with your own values, passions, and desires, not from seeking approval or affirmation from others. This is one of the core aspects of being happy alone, recognizing that your worth and happiness are not dependent on anyone or anything outside of yourself. The need for external validation often stems from insecurity or a lack of self-worth. From a young age, many people are conditioned to seek approval from parents, teachers, and peers, leading to a lifelong pattern of looking outside themselves for affirmation. This can create a cycle where your happiness and sense of fulfillment are based on what others think of you. You may feel good about yourself when you receive compliments, praise, or recognition, but if those external affirmations are lacking, you may start to doubt your value. This dependency on external validation can lead to feelings of emptiness, dissatisfaction, and low self-esteem. True fulfillment, however, comes from within. It begins with self-acceptance and self-love. When you learn to accept yourself, your strengths, weaknesses, and imperfections, you no longer feel the need to seek validation from others. Self-acceptance allows you to recognize that you are enough just as you are, without the need for approval from anyone else. This inner contentment is the foundation of true happiness and fulfillment. It frees you from the constant need to impress others or live up to their expectations, allowing you to live authentically and pursue the things that truly matter to you. Another important aspect of reaching fulfillment without external validation is developing a sense of purpose. When you have a clear sense of what gives your life meaning, you are less likely to be swayed by the opinions or judgments of others. Purpose provides you with a guiding light, helping you stay focused on your goals and values, even when external circumstances are challenging. When you are living in alignment with your purpose, the need for external validation diminishes because you are driven by an internal sense of fulfillment. Your actions are motivated by what feels right to you rather than by the desire to gain approval from others. Living a purpose-driven life also fosters a sense of intrinsic motivation. Instead of seeking rewards, recognition, or praise from others, you find fulfillment in the process of pursuing your goals and passions. This intrinsic motivation leads to a deeper sense of satisfaction because you are doing things for your own personal growth and happiness rather than for external rewards. Whether it's pursuing a career, engaging in a creative hobby, or building meaningful relationships, when your actions are motivated by internal desires rather than external validation, you experience a more lasting and fulfilling sense of happiness. Self-awareness plays a critical role in reaching fulfillment without external validation. When you are self-aware, you have a deep understanding of your own values, desires, and motivations. You are able to distinguish between what truly matters to you and what you have been conditioned to believe is important. This clarity helps you make decisions that align with your authentic self, rather than being influenced by the expectations of others. When you are clear about who you are and what you want, you no longer feel the need to seek approval from others because you are confident in your own path. Cultivating self-confidence is another key component of finding fulfillment without external validation. Confidence comes from knowing and trusting yourself. When you are confident in your abilities, decisions, and values, you do not need others to affirm your worth. This confidence allows you to take risks, pursue your goals, and navigate challenges without being dependent on external approval. Instead of worrying about what others think of you, you are focused on your own journey and the progress you are making. This self-assuredness leads to a deeper sense of fulfillment as you realize that you are capable of achieving your goals on your own terms. One of the most liberating aspects of reaching fulfillment without external validation is the freedom to live authentically. When you are no longer seeking approval from others, you are free to be yourself without fear of judgment. This authenticity allows you to express your true self, pursue your passions, and make decisions that align with your values. Living authentically brings a deep sense of fulfillment because you are no longer compromising your true self to fit in or gain acceptance. You are living in alignment with your own truth, and this leads to a more genuine and lasting sense of happiness. Developing emotional independence is another crucial step toward fulfillment without external validation. Emotional independence means that your happiness and sense of self-worth are not dependent on the actions or opinions of others. You are able to regulate your own emotions and find happiness within yourself, rather than relying on external factors to dictate how you feel. Emotional independence gives you the strength to handle rejection, criticism, or disapproval without letting it affect your sense of self-worth. When you are emotionally independent, you realize that your value is not determined by how others treat you or perceive you, and this empowers you to live a more fulfilling and self-directed life. Another important aspect of reaching fulfillment without external validation is setting healthy boundaries. When you are not dependent on others for validation, you are better able to establish and maintain boundaries that protect your well-being. You are less likely to be swayed by the opinions or demands of others, and more likely to prioritize your own needs and desires. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect and self-love, and it reinforces the idea that your happiness comes from within. When you are clear about your boundaries, you are able to cultivate relationships and environments that support your fulfillment, rather than drain your energy or diminish your sense of self-worth. Reaching fulfillment without external validation involves letting go of the need for perfection. Many people seek external validation because they believe that being perfect will earn them the approval they desire. However, perfection is an unrealistic and unattainable goal, and the pursuit of it often leads to feelings of inadequacy and dissatisfaction. True fulfillment comes from embracing your imperfections and recognizing that you are worthy of love, respect, and happiness just as you are. Letting go of perfection allows you to live more freely and authentically, and it frees you from the constant pressure to meet others' expectations. Instead, you can focus on your own growth and happiness, which leads to a more lasting and meaningful sense of fulfillment. Reaching fulfillment without external validation is a deeply personal and empowering journey. It involves cultivating self-acceptance, living authentically, developing emotional independence, and finding purpose within yourself. When you no longer rely on others to determine your worth, you are free to live a life that is true to who you are. And this leads to a deeper, more lasting sense of fulfillment. By turning inward and finding happiness within, you can break free from the need for external validation and live a more empowered and fulfilling life. Learning to be happy alone is one of the most transformative journeys you can take. It's about embracing solitude not as loneliness, but as an opportunity to connect deeply with yourself. When you stop seeking external validation and realize that your true worth and happiness come from within, you unlock a freedom that is life-changing. You gain clarity on who you are, what you want, and how to live authentically without the constant pressure of other people's expectations. Emotional independence, self-acceptance, and living in alignment with your purpose bring a profound sense of fulfillment that no external source can provide. Happiness, at its core, is an inside job. When you can stand alone confidently, knowing you are enough, you not only improve your relationship with yourself, but also with others. You become a source of strength and joy that radiates outward, attracting meaningful connections and experiences, but without being dependent on them. This shift from seeking happiness externally to finding it within gives you the resilience to navigate life's challenges and the ability to experience deeper, lasting joy. So learn to embrace solitude, to love yourself, and to live without the need for constant approval. In doing so, you'll discover that the greatest relationship you can ever have is the one with yourself. And from that, true happiness will flow effortlessly.